And now I would like to invite Dr. Theresa Mullin to unmute, turn on her camera, and provide us with a little background on the FDA patient-focused drug development program and patient-focused meetings. Dr. Mullin?
Thank you, Robin. Hi, I'm Theresa Mullin, the Associate Center Director for Strategic Initiatives in the FDA Center for Drugs. And as Robin said, I'll give you a little bit of background on this patient-focused drug development, which is now a program, and what we try to accomplish with this effort. And so next slide, please. So what is patient-focused drug development? We define this to be a systematic approach to help ensure that the patient's experiences, their perspectives, their needs and priorities are captured and meaningfully incorporated into drug development programs and into our evaluation. And next slide, please. And so patient-focused drug development meetings give us an opportunity for more systematic collection and listening to patients' perspectives and on the severity of their condition and the impact of their condition on their daily life and their experiences with the available treatment options. We've learned over the course of this effort that we've had underway for about 8 years now that patients are uniquely positioned to inform our understanding of the clinical context for review and our regulatory decision-making. And before the patient-focused drug development initiative, we had fairly limited ways to try to hear from patients. The available mechanisms were generally in the context of a specific application and a particular matter to do with that. And we would have limited participation of patient representatives who, because it was about a specific application, had to undergo a fair amount of screening for conflict of interest. And so that really limited our ability to hear from the broader community. So this patient-focused drug development meetings give us a way to really reach out to a wider range of people who have a condition to hear their view and what they've been experiencing. Next slide, please. And so patient-focused drug development meetings are not only for FDA, but also other stakeholders are given the opportunity to hear the patient's voice. And so I know that in the meeting today, we have a really great participation. We're really happy about the participation from patients and caregivers. We also know that there are industry parties on the call who may be interested in developing drugs to treat vitiligo, and as well as healthcare professionals, academic researchers, and others. And so it's a chance to just for a wide range of stakeholders, if you will, to hear patients' perspectives on this. We began this back in 2012, and based on, frankly, patients coming and talking to people when they were in the middle of user fee negotiations about wanting more participation and more of an opportunity to inform FDA and others about what they were going through. And so from 2013 to 2017, we really launched this effort. And at that time, FDA conducted 24 of these meetings in different disease areas. By about 2016, though, patient groups were coming to us and saying, look, you know, it's great that you're doing this, but our disease might not be among the number that you're able to do. Why don't you expand it? So we expanded this to have an externally led patient-focused component to the program now, and that's really allowed us to expand much more in our ability to hear what the patient's perspective is on their condition and the available treatments. And at this stage, we're actually developing guidance documents to try to help inform collecting this information in a way that makes it maximally useful in drug development and for FDA decision making. And so that's another piece of what we have underway now. Next slide, please. So this slide just kind of shows you the snapshot of the different disease areas. I hope you can see it. The font is kind of tiny, but I think we'll have these slides will probably be on our website later. So you can see it, but it basically a very wide range of disease areas that FDA has used. And in addition to those, as I mentioned, we've now had over 40 externally led meetings that FDA has had the opportunity for our clinical and statistical and other staff to attend and listen. These are meetings that are organized and conducted by patient organizations, and we've tried to support them in their efforts. And so well over 60, almost 70 meetings to date in different disease areas. So it's been really fantastic. Next slide, please. So as Dr. Marcus was just explaining a little while ago, FDA's role is not one of conducting the trials or developing the drugs, But as part of our mission to protect and promote public health, we do include this monitoring and evaluation of the safety and effectiveness of new drugs and marketed drugs. And we play a critical role in development, although we don't conduct the development activities, we don't develop them or conduct the trials. But our review divisions, like Dr. Marcus's division and others, really conduct oversight throughout the development process and are able to advise companies to have a stronger development program, one that's more protective of patients and makes better use of the time that patients spend back in trials. And then that final stage of reviewing the submitted application and then following drugs once they're on the market to make sure they continue to be safe and effective. So that's the kind of role that FDA plays throughout this. And you can see where there are opportunities all along the way for patients to inform FDA and others about what matters to them and in terms of benefits and risks. Next slide, please. So this slide gives you an overview. These patient-focused meetings have a town hall style to them. In this case, we're going to have a virtual town hall. And it begins, as we are now, with this overview. And next, you'll hear from Dr. Carr about the clinical background and currently available treatments. And following that kind of stage setting, we move into that first session that Captain Bent described, which is an opportunity to hear more about the symptoms and daily impacts of the condition on the patients who are living with it and maybe their families as well. And we've launched that with a panel, hopefully providing a diverse range of perspectives on patients or maybe caregivers who are living with the person who has the condition or living with the condition. And we see that as kind of a launch pad for the discussion that follows, pulling in the wider range of people who have the disease who are participating in the meeting. And that session is followed by a session on current treatment options, similar format. We begin with a panel discussion representing hopefully a range of experiences with different treatment options that may be available. And that we hope serves as a way to launch the broader discussion and hear from the broader community participating in our meeting about their experiences with available treatments. Next slide, please. So in addition to hearing from patients and caregivers, we do encourage, each of these meetings is tailored to the questions that are for the particular condition that we're hearing about. And we encourage other participants in addition to patients and caregivers, advocates, researchers, drug developers, healthcare providers, and even government officials. But our focus is on hearing directly from patients and their caregivers. And so we're going to ask everybody else to remain silent and in listening mode so that we can really have this be a platform for hearing directly from patients and caregivers and maximize our opportunity today for that. And then after the meeting, we have a docket that we keep open, an electronic docket where people can submit additional information that they may think of later or will be open for a while after the meeting, some number of days after the meeting. And with the information that we hear today and receive today and that comes in through the docket, we create a voice of the patient report to try to capture and faithfully reflect what we've heard from you all today. And finally, the last slide, next slide, please, provides you just the resources that you can avail yourselves to at any time. The report that we will produce will be on this webpage. You can get to this webpage by Googling or whatever other search engine you might want to use, patient-focused drug development. And it'll take you to this landing page where you can see the guidance we have in development, other programs, and all about these patient-focused meetings, including the externally led and other resources. And with that, we really look forward to hearing from you today. And thank you, and I'll end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mullin.